Hey guys, got Wes with us again today. And Wes, when Melinda and I started hanging out with each other,
Yeah.
she walked into a computer class when I was 15 and she was 14.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it was a speech class that we had together. We did have a computer class together too later, and she says that the day she walked into that class, that she knew that I was the guy for her. And I guess that you'd call that love at first sight. Mine was more of lust at first sight.
Yeah.
Uh,
You
uh,
like what you saw.
that's exactly right. But she was more of, she said, love at first sight. That she knew she could see me and her being something that would be together for ongoing. Of course, I didn't look at it that way back then, um, but that's kind of the way we step into some of these marriages and relationships, I guess. And um, you recently shared something that I thought was interesting. It was a challenge you kind of put up to like or love.
Yes.
So won't you kind of explain what that looks like?
Well, first of all, my comment from your comments were is I'm not sure that I believe in love at first sight. I'm not sure that I believe in your soulmate. Now, I think both of those can work through life and get to that point. But if you guys out there are looking for that soulmate and you think you're going to see him right away, your like is going to go away real quick. Uh, I saw something about if you like a flower, then you'll cut it off, put it in a vase, put it up in the window, and you can watch it. Now, guess what? Eventually, it dies. But if you love a flower, which might take a little longer, we guys like things right away.
Mm-hmm.
But if you love a flower, then you'll plant it, you'll feed it, you'll grow it, and it takes a long time. But you get the long lasting circumstances much more than liking a flower, and that's the way we ought to treat our marriages. My challenge to you today is: do you like your wife? Which certainly is comes in handy. We need to like our wives, but do you really love your wife? Because if you love your wife, you need to be nurturing her, feeding her, uh, paying attention to her.
Yeah.
Um, and two questions that I asked my says, do you all share the same values?
Hmm.
That's something that really needs to be done up front, because sharing the same values will help ensure that you're going to have a long marriage. And the other thing, are you trying to help her reach her goals, not your goals, her goals? And
Yeah,
if
but
you do,
I think a key part there, Wes, is do we even know what her goals are?
absolutely.
Yeah, you
And,
got to
and
spend
if you love her, you probably spend some time trying to find that out.
exactly.
If you like her,
Yeah,
you've already put her in her vase and she's dying, and you don't really care what her goals are.
yeah, yeah.
So that's a pretty challenging thing, guys. That if you're watching this and you get a little uncomfortable, and wait a minute, you're reaching for the dial and you want to turn it off. No, don't turn it off. You need to do a little soul searching.
Well, it's interesting using that analogy with a flower. If you love a flower, or a plant or something,
Right.
as you water it, kind of feed it um, what it needs for it to grow, it changes.
Yep.
Okay, it'll look a little different, probably,
Yep.
um, but you also probably will go by and touch the leaves and go, boy, that's kind of cool, that's neat, and
Yeah.
it feels different, it looks different. You notice those things. um, you might comment to somebody else, have you noticed the change in the colors of the flower? And
Yes.
so there's a big difference there, and is what you're saying there, that loving that flower or just liking it. That you put it,
Absolutely.
like, if you like it, you put it in the window and it wilts and you're just like, but if you love it, that's a different deal.
Yeah. And there's something else too that you really need to stay focused on, is that loving them, taking care of that flower is a daily effort. You just can't come along and put it in the ground
Yeah.
and come back 2 months later after you played golf, after you've worked yourself to death, after you played with the boys and done all those kind of extracurricular activity, and then all of a sudden you come in there and expect this flower to be everything that you needed it to be, and it doesn't look very good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And because it's a daily effort, and I know that's easier said than done, but bottom line is, if you're going to have a long time commitment, because I tell these young college kids that I'm mentoring, is that honeymoons don't last very long. They don't always look good down the road. We're always going to get a little bit older. But I said, if you can just hang in there, you will reach the greatest moment of your life, is when you finish well together.
That's
You
right.
see the little old couple walking down the street, bent over, holding each other's hands. And I keep telling them, that's it.
Yep.
That's exactly what you're looking for. It's not looking for that first great date. It's not looking for the gigantic, loving honeymoon. Those are all nice things. God wants us to have those. But, we're in this for the long run, not the short run.
No doubt. I'm amazed at the number of men that tell me all the time that, oh man, I got to keep myself busy, because if I don't, I'll have to, spend more time with my wife. And I tell them, so I ask them, I said, well, then why'd you marry her then? If you don't want to spend time with her, why'd you marry her? And so we got to be real careful and recognize that these women, these flowers, these wonderful, they're a blessing from the Lord, and we're to treat them like that. And so I tell guys all the time, if I've got my choice to hang out with 6 guys or hang out with my wife, I'm going to choose my wife. Yep. Because I want to finish well with her, and that's going to have the biggest impact on my kids and my grandkids and other people watching me, is when they see that kind of relationship. That's the rock in the pond with the ripple effect. Yep. that we all want to leave. And so part of my purpose statement is I want my kids and my grandkids and great grandkids to know, they call my wife Mammy. I want them to know that I love Jesus first and I love Mammy second. And they had no doubt that was the case.
Absolutely. And we don't want to miss this moment right now, that we can also make God our flower.
Yes.
Because we have to make sure that we just can't put him in a vase for one day and have a Sunday school lesson and go to church and then live 6 days independent of God.
Yeah.
You can't just put him in a vase, because he will, he won't make an influence in your life.
Yeah.
You've got to daily nurture him.
Yep.
And love him, so that not only your children know that you loved your wife, your children will know that you love Jesus Christ.
So with our wives and with Jesus, do we like them or do we love them?
Absolutely.
When it comes to Jesus, I heard, of course, this was the name of a book he wrote, but Kyle Idleman says, well, you got to decide if we're going to be a fan or a follower when it comes to Jesus. There's a lot of fans out there. Yeah. But you want to be that follower. You want to love him. And that's the same way. That's the same way it applies to our wives. We want to like or love. I like the long-term benefit of the love part, not the like part.
I do too.
Yeah.
I certainly want to like my wife, but at the same sense, love will overcome that, and get through days that you don't like them.
Yep.
And there's going to be days that she doesn't like me.
Nope.
Bottom line is, as she told me this morning, sometimes I don't always like you.
Right.
But I always love you.
That's right. No doubt. Good stuff. Thanks, Wes.
Okay.
Next time, guys.
All right.